Let's be honest, staring at the UPSC zoology syllabus feels a bit like looking up at a mountain, right? It looks massive, it's super technical, and yeah, it can be a little intimidating. But what if I told you there's a clear path right to the summit? Well, in this explainer, that's exactly what we're doing. We're handing you the map, the tools, and the strategy to not just climb that mountain, but to conquer it and turn this tough optional into your highest scoring paper. So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to tackle that big question. Is zoology actually the right choice for you? Then we'll dive headfirst into paper one and really explore the huge, sprawling animal kingdom. After that, we'll get out our magnifying glass for paper two, uncovering the science that makes everything tick. And finally, the best part. We'll tie it all together into a strategic study blueprint, giving you a real step-by-step plan for success. All right, let's get real for a second. Every single UPSC aspirant gets to this point. Is this optional really the one for me? And with zoology, that's a huge question. Is it your golden ticket to a high score, or is it just a massive gamble? Let's break it down. So this slide, it pretty much lays out the classic risk-reward dilemma with zoology. On one hand, the potential upside is huge. It can be a goldmine for marks. The syllabus is static, it doesn't change much, the questions are usually pretty direct, and it's an absolute game changer if you're also aiming for the Indian Forest Service. But there's the other side. This syllabus is a beast. It is enormous. It's going to demand at least 4 to 5 months of your life with deep, focused study, and it has almost zero overlap with your general studies papers. To be blunt, if you don't have a science background, this is a seriously steep climb. Okay, now let's step into the wild. Paper one is basically your grand safari through the entire animal kingdom. I mean, we are talking about the whole magnificent tapestry of life, from the tiniest single-celled organisms all the way up to the great mammals. It's all about understanding the who and the where of the animal world. The best way to think about paper one is that it's made of 6 key pieces. The absolute foundation is non-chordata and chordata. That's your who's who of the animal kingdom. Then you've got ecology, which is all about where they live and how they interact. Ethology answers the why. Why do animals behave the way they do? Then you get practical with economic zoology, how animals affect our economy. And finally, biostatistics and instrumentation methods. Those are the scientific tools you'll use to measure and make sense of it all. Okay, so here's a perfect example of the kind of depth we're talking about. You see a term like metagenesis. Just knowing the definition isn't going to cut it. Not for UPSC. They want you to explain the how, the why, and the so what. You need to be able to break down the entire cycle using a specific example like the jellyfish obelia. This is the kind of mastery that takes a score from just okay to absolutely top tier. Listen, this is exactly where smart preparation beats just slogging away for hours. You simply can't master everything equally, so you have to be strategic. If there's one single area in paper one to really pour your energy into, it's this, the comparative anatomy of vertebrates. Understanding the nuts and bolts of how a fish's heart differs from a mammal's, or how a bird breathes, that's where the big marks are hiding. It's a guaranteed high-yield topic, so you need to make it your fortress. All right, time to put on our lab coats. If paper one was our trip to the zoo, then paper two is where we step into the laboratory. We're going from the whole animal down to the atom, from the organism down to the organelle. This is where we get to uncover the incredible microscopic machinery that powers all life. So paper two is really a journey to the center of the cell and then back out again. We start with the absolute basics, cell biology and genetics, the literal blueprints of life. From there, we zoom out to see the big picture with evolution and systematics, how all this life has changed over millions of years. Then we dive right back in to look at the engine with biochemistry and physiology, the chemical reactions that make us go. And finally, developmental biology shows us the flat-out miracle of how a single cell becomes a complex being. It's amazing stuff. Now this is really important. This slide shows you that UPSC zoology is not your grandfather's biology class, okay? They expect you to be a modern biologist. You absolutely need to know your Darwin, but you also have to know your DNA sequencing. Topics like CRISPR and cloning aren't just for sci-fi movies anymore. They're core parts of this syllabus. You have to be fluent in both the classic concepts and the cutting-edge science. And just like with paper one, you've got to know where to place your bets. For paper two, your winning ticket is, without a doubt, mammalian physiology. This is non-negotiable. If you can't clearly explain the step-by-step process of how a nerve impulse fires or how hormones regulate the reproductive cycle, you are leaving a massive pile of marks on the table. Master these concepts and you will be miles ahead of the competition. All right, so we've covered the what. We've seen the terrain of the syllabus. Now let's talk about the how. And this is arguably the most important part of our whole discussion. How do you take this mountain of information and actually turn it into a top-scoring performance on exam day? Let's build your blueprint for success. Think of this as your 5-step game plan. This isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. Step 1, analyze. You have to get inside the examiner's head by studying past papers. 2, organize. Create your own detailed notes. This is so critical. 3, visualize. Diagrams are your best friend. They're worth 1,000 words in this exam. 4, focus. Zero in on those high-impact topics we've been talking about. And 5, maybe the most important, revise relentlessly. You can't cram this subject. You have to build your knowledge layer by layer, day by day. So, take a look at this. This chart is basically your time management guide visualized. See that huge chunk? A full 25% of your time should be dedicated to mastering animal classification. But look at the other big players. Genetics, ecology, and physiology are right behind. Treat this chart like your study budget. If you allocate your precious time according to these percentages, you'll be investing your energy exactly where you'll get the highest returns. Okay, look, if you take away just one single thing from our chat today, let it be this quote. This captures the absolute, unvarnished truth of preparing for zoology. This is not a sprint, it is a full-on marathon. We're talking 4 to 5 months of deep, focused work. There's no magic bullets, no shortcut. It's just the hard but rewarding work of consistent note-taking and daily revision. That's the price of admission, and trust me, it's worth it. I'm going to say this, and I really, really cannot stress this enough. Do not even think about opening an advanced textbook until you have absolutely mastered the NCERT Biology books for classes 11 and 12. This is not a suggestion, it's a rule. These books are your foundation, and if that foundation is shaky, the whole skyscraper of knowledge you're trying to build will come crashing down. Read them, reread them, and then just to be safe, read them one more time. It's the most important first step you can take. Here they are, your go-to resources for Paper 1. These books are basically the Bibles for these topics, but a big word of warning here. Whatever you do, do not try to read these cover to cover. You will get lost for weeks. Instead, treat them like a reference library. Have your syllabus in one hand, past papers in the other, and use these books to hunt down the exact information you need. You have to be a surgeon here, not a bulldozer. Precision is everything. And for Paper 2, this right here is your dream team. These are the definitive, gold standard texts on everything from cell biology to human physiology. And the same rule applies. Be tactical. Your syllabus is your treasure map, and these books are the islands you need to explore. Navigate them with purpose, focusing only on the landmarks that UPSC has clearly marked as important. So, where does that leave us? Let's go all the way back to the beginning, to that intimidating mountain of a syllabus. Is it a challenge? Absolutely. But is it impossible? No way. You now have the map, you have the right gear, and you have a solid strategy to make the climb. You literally have the blueprint to turn this optional from a source of stress into your greatest strength. The path is clear. So the only real question left is, are you ready to take that first step?